we'll circle back a little bit on Canada and USA as well, because I build all these beautiful graphics, and all you want to do is talk about goalies for the first 15 minutes of the show. We'll get back to that stuff if you want later in the show. I'll let you have your little 5 minutes of goalie run. But hey, let's get to our guest. Josh Bloom now joining us here. Vancouver Canucks prospect. I guess you can call it like the newest Vancouver Canucks prospect, because getting traded earlier on a few months ago into the season here. Josh is joining us now from the North Bay Battalion. Just wrapped up their OHL playoffs. Ended up losing to Peterborough, who's off to the Memorial Cup. Josh, how you doing, man? What's the offseason been like for you? I guess it's still really fresh for you, I assume.
Yeah, great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Just got back in the gym a couple days ago. Legs are a little sore. Haven't done that in a while, so it's good to be back home and excited to start this new journey.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I got to take it back to the trade, because I think, when a guy gets drafted by a team, and I'm sure you were feeling this with Buffalo, so excited, Jordan, organization, but as a player who really hasn't even turned pro at this point, what's it like being a prospect involved in a trade? Because, a lot of us here and a lot of listeners have no idea what that feeling is like, or what kind of emotions you have when you hear that you're traded to the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, it was really weird. I remember getting the call from Kevin Adams, and he told me I was traded, and it was very different than my trade in the OHL. Like, you pick up your stuff and you leave right away, whereas like this trade was kind of in the future, and it's where I'm going next. So it was a weird feeling. I was excited as soon as I heard it was Vancouver, Canadian team, Canadian market. Can't be more excited about that. So I was really, really excited to hear Vancouver from the other line, and yeah, Buffalo was great to me, but this is a new chapter, and really excited to get started.
What do you know about Vancouver? What do you know about Abbotsford?
From what I've heard, I've never been. From what I've heard, once I get out west, I'm not going to want to leave. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Josh, I got to kind of get started here, because you go up, you get a development camp with the Buffalo Sabres. That must have been a great experience for you. What do you take away from one of those opportunities to, skate with some guys around your age who are all drafted or hoping to go pro very soon? What do you take away from a development camp? Because you got one just around the corner now with the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of the guys, and looking forward to doing that in Vancouver. I hear they put on a great camp, and excited to just meet everybody and kind of get intertwined into the organization and finally be a part of the Canucks.
And we saw some of that excitement. I don't know if we have a photo of this, but the wrestling mask. What's the story here? We saw the mask.
Oh,
The lucha mask on, and Canucks fans loved it. I don't know if we have a photo here, Alex, if you could pull it up, but the lucha mask. What's the story here?
yeah. So my assistant coach in North Bay just has the most random stuff kicking around his basement, and the day after I was traded, he brought it in, and I put it on, and the boys had a good laugh, and I did the starting lineups in it the night after. So yeah, I kind of stuck around. I kept it in my stall. We all thought it was funny, and just something random that you would never think to like make a Canucks mask like that, but it's definitely cool to have, and it was a hilarious moment for sure.
So is that mask coming with you to Vancouver for development camp in a couple months here?
For sure, why not, right?
Well,
Absolutely,
I
John.
was gonna say any future contract negotiations, anything you ever have to do with the organization, you should wear that when you walk into the building at all times. I think that should be your move.
Wouldn't that be a play?
Josh, I want to ask a little bit about your play style. When I started watching the tape on you, I was noticing, I'm like, do you score all your goals shorthanded or what? Like, what do you love about penalty killing? It looks like your offense seems to thrive while you're penalty killing.
Yeah, I started developing my penalty killing in Saginaw when I was playing there, and our assistant coach at the time, Brad Flynn, did an unbelievable job kind of walking me through it because there was COVID there. So rookie season, you're obviously not penalty killing, and then jumping into that role in my third year, we took a lot of steps in improving that aspect of my game, and I think I just found different opportunities to kind of turn it offensive in North Bay as well, and I think just understanding the systems, understanding when to jump, and got rewarded somewhat. So it was nice to. Brad Flynn did a great job with me in learning how to do that, and hopefully continues moving forward.
And talk to me about getting traded. I guess twice. You were traded during the season in your OHL. You're getting traded as well in the NHL. We touched on that a little bit, but to get an opportunity with the battalion, the run that you guys went on in the playoffs was nothing to be ashamed about. What you guys did was incredible against a team that very strong. They're out of Peterborough, but getting traded in the OHL with a C on your chest, I think that's another moment that I think a lot of people would love to hear your emotions on.
Yeah, for sure. It was a shock, actually. We were in first place in the Western Conference, and a little bit of a shock, but kind of jumped with both feet and absolutely love my time in North Bay. Love the people, love the staff. Definitely a treat to get to spend 6 months there. And but yeah, shocked, but excited at the same time. Going to a team that really wanted me, and obviously we made a run and fell short. Game 6 just popped one, and that's the series. And then Game 7 needed one more, so couldn't find that extra goal in two elimination games. Sorry, but yeah, love my time in Saginaw and jumped with both feet into North Bay, and absolutely love my time there as well.
So let's go back to your draft year here. OHL season is canceled, obviously, with the pandemic and all that sort of stuff. You still managed to go in the third round, but how did the pandemic really affect you and affect your hockey career? Like, was there ever that worry of like, crap, like I can't show off my stuff here because there's no hockey. Like, I can't go play hockey anywhere.
Yeah, big time. There's a panic for sure. You look at it, and my 16-year-old year, I came out with 14 points. We were a really, really good team, and just didn't get a ton of minutes, and found a way to get drafted out of that. I think my skills guy in Hamilton here, Evan McGrath, did an unbelievable job with me, and found a way to get teams into the building, and they got a look at me, and Buffalo decided to pull the trigger in the third round. Uh, Draft day, had no idea what was going to happen. We were kind of just hoping I got drafted. We heard anything from 3 to 7 and potentially undrafted. So we went into the day with open arms, and it was a hell of a day. Got drafted in the third round, and whole family went nuts. I don't know if you've seen the video, but it was a really, really special day. And people talk about, yeah, like you want to go to the draft. Sure, that's an unbelievable experience, but being home with the entire family and getting to experience it with all my friends and family was pretty special as well. So yeah, it was definitely a different experience. I don't think it'll ever happen again for a lot of guys, but yeah, special day, and yeah, I can't say enough about it.
Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again, because I'm sure that's a tough moment. What do you
Seriously.
do during a season that's canceled? Pandemic. I mean, I'm sure you could have been able to find ice if you really try. Like, what were you doing day to day as just like a hockey player, like a during this time where there was no league for you to play in?
Sorry, you cut out there. Say that one more time.
Okay. Yeah, just in the pandemic year there, like as a hockey player, what are you doing when your league shut down? Like, how are you keeping going with your development as a guy who looks like he's going to go pro very soon?
Yeah, so we were heartbroken because we had, like I was saying, we had a great team in Saginaw, and we made some moves to try and go for a run there as well, and then that got cut short. We thought it was only going to be 2 weeks, turns into 2 years. So yeah, I was rollerblading a ton with all my buddies, always trying to find time to rollerblade, but got so bored there was nothing else to do other than work out, and so literally just worked out and slept and ate, and those were my days, and strung them all together and made huge improvements in my game. And going into my third year, took a big leap, and yeah, it was like, honestly, I think it was great for me to have that time, because it gave me that time to develop and really work on the strength aspect of it, which I needed at the time, and still do, as everyone does, but needed especially in my 16-year-old year, and worked out great for me.
Is there a current player that you project your game to be similar to?
I like to look at Taylor Hall. I think he plays with a ton of pace. I think he's very fast, left-handed shot, left winger. Can score off the rush, reliable in all three zones. I like to look at him as a comparable. I like to think I play with a lot of pace to my game, whether that's skating or moving the puck or making plays. So if I was to pick somebody, it'd be him.
Josh, what about when people make the adjustment? We see a lot of guys in junior that are, crazy high scorers, and they have to really make that adjustment when they go pro. Is there a part of your game that you think you want to lean a little bit more on as you make that jump towards pro hockey?
Yeah, I think my ability to play up and down a lineup, I think I can find a role anywhere in a lineup. And if you got me on the fourth line, I'll find a way to make an impact in the game. So I think just accepting my role to start the year, and just earning trust and doing my thing.
What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to from the city of Vancouver as you come here for development camp? I know you got Penticton for young stars as well, down to Victoria for training camp, main camp, all those things. What are you most excited about from the West Coast, from not necessarily a hockey standpoint, but just, seeing what the West Coast is all about?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I hear the lifestyle out there is unbelievable, and the people are just fantastic. So excited to get out there. I love being by the water, so Go watch some whales jump around. Never seen that before, so that'd be all right. And then here there's great surfing out west, so we'll see.
You don't even know what Cactus Club is yet. You're in for a treat. All the players talk about it, man. Cactus Club, that's gonna be your place to go. Trust me.
Awesome.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you taking the time, man. It was great to chat with you. We'll see you in just a little bit of time here for development camp. You are coming to development camp. We'll see you in
Yeah,
like
that's
a
the
month.
plan.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations on your OHL career. It was a lot of fun to follow, and specifically over the past 3 months since you became a Canucks prospect. But thanks a ton for doing this, Josh. We'll see you in about a month now.
Yeah, appreciate the time, guys. Thanks a ton.
There it is. Josh Bloom joining us there from the North Bay Battalion. I tell you what, and I asked the question because you do see a lot of players in junior who put up, crazy numbers and they find it really hard to transition their game to pro hockey. We can look at Jonah Gadjevich, Cole Lind, a couple of examples here in Vancouver that I just think of off the top of my head. I didn't see a lot from Jonah Gadjevich or Cole Lind that was like, oh, but maybe they can play down in a lineup because their penalty killing ability, their two-way play. Like, I didn't see that in those guys' games. They had a lot of good offensive talent, but with Josh Bloom, like, you watch the way that this kid defends, the way that he talked about the penalty kill, like, there's a lot of real good, translatable skills in his game that are going to help him in pro hockey. So he's one of these guys that you hear so much about major junior to pro hockey being such a difficult jump. It's going to be a difficult jump, don't get me wrong, but at least Bloom's really got the traits to make you think, like, if he leans on some of those things a little bit more than just being able to, score 40 goals, score 30 goals, these type of things, I think it's going to be a little bit of a smooth transition for him. And I know he's a top 10 prospect for me in the Canucks system, and we'll have to see what he looks like at development camp. I expect him to be one of the guys that kind of sticks out a little bit with the combination of being 6'2", having some size, good skating. Like, the Canucks got an absolute steal of a deal when they traded Riley Stillman for this guy. Like, this, we talked about it at the time. Like, this was an incredible trade for the Vancouver Canucks to add a prospect of this caliber and be able to get rid of Riley Stillman's contract in the doing of it. I mean, yeah, very excited to see what this kid looks like, kind of matching up against the rest of the Canucks players at development camp.
And the thing with him, like you just talked about the transferable skills, every coach we've ever talked to, NHL, AHL, BCHL, doesn't matter. Every coach you talk to says, okay, if you're not going to score goals, you still have to be able to impact the game in some way. Like, if you want to play, you need to impact the game in some way. And Josh Bloom's able to do that, right? Like, he's going to be able to do that. And it's an exciting prospect. It's an exciting prospect, Dad. Yeah, he's probably going to be, a middle six, bottom six winger. Canucks need those. Like, you need those on your NHL club, right? And to get anything for Riley Stillman, we've talked about that
Here's the thing.
more than enough.
Yeah, and Corey Shuchuk asked in the chat, what current player does he project his game to be similar to? I'd look at it more of, and we've talked about him a lot this year, but the way that Arshdeep Bains plays such a smart defensive game. Like, Bains had all the offense in the WHL, and don't get me wrong, like, his offense is probably a higher caliber than Bloom's is, but I think Bloom has a higher defensive caliber in his game. So I'd compare him a little bit to how he thinks the game, like Arshdeep Bains, but maybe a little bit quicker. I'd probably say that Bloom probably has better foot speed. So I look at him as being a guy who, yeah, like, one day you hope that he's pushing for a middle six role, but I think he already has the skills to make you think, like, at least as a floor, we're talking about a fourth line NHLer. Like, we're not talking about a floor in the AHL. We're talking about a guy who's going to play in the NHL in the next 3 to 4 years. It's going to depend on how his development goes over those 3 to 4 years to see how high he can really hit as a ceiling. So, yeah, a prospect that I'm excited about. Like, the guys that I talked to off in Buffalo there, they were really excited about this guy. They had him as like a top 7 prospect in the Sabre system. And this was at the start of the year when we're talking about, Owen Power still being on their prospect list and things like that. So they have a much better prospect system over there in Buffalo than we see in Vancouver. And he was top 7 in a lot of guys' lists, and they really like the way this kid plays. So it's a different type of prospect too. Like, hey, you could see him in Abbotsford maybe playing with Danila Klimovich. Is he the defensive winger who can make passes for a sniper? Like, that's the type of player that I think you'll see here with Josh Bloom. So yeah, exciting prospect for sure.
We should make sure he knows that Cactus Club is a restaurant, because he was a little confused. You could tell when I just threw out the word Cactus Club at him. What Cactus Club sounds like it's something else. Like the name Cactus Club, we know it because we're from here, but the name itself doesn't sound like a restaurant. I don't know.
I think Cactus,
we better make sure he
east.
knows.
It's moving out east to Canada too.
He didn't know what it was.
Oh, no, it's not out in every place yet. It's not in Oakville where he's from. It's not out there yet, but I tell you, the Cactus is moving out
They're
east.
not
Everybody,
moving out east.
everybody knows that. Everybody knows the Cactus is moving out east. Everybody knows.
No, they're.
You're
Oh
just
yeah,
busy
okay.
you're taking people out to Joey's trying to get him to sign with Canucks Army. It's the reason we got no new writers in the last 3 months here, because you're bringing everyone to Joey. That's your spot with the Parmesan fries.
Okay, they got 2 locations in Toronto. That doesn't count as moving out east. They got 2
Oh.
locations in Toronto, okay? And then one in Saskatchewan. I'm a little surprised about that.
You're joking. You take.
Why doesn't
They
that
got-
count for moving east?
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Because you're going to Toronto. You're going to one place. You're going into Toronto. That's like saying, oh yeah, whatever, Arby's is moving out west and they've put a place in Prince George or wherever, right? Like, no, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
No, it doesn't count. The way you said it was like, oh, they're rapidly expanding. What? 2
Okay.
locations both in Toronto. Come on.
If you were to take Highway 1 across Canada east, would you ever hit Toronto?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't done
Thank
the
you.
drive.
Because it's out east. Thank you very much.